Right. Good afternoon everyone. Maayong hapon sa tanan. Hopefully tanan atong mga listeners and viewers, hopefully everyone had their lunch. Nakapaniod do na. Kaya ato ra bang isgutan karon basura. Ako dahil si Attorney Jade Ponce, no? I'm currently the Executive Director of the Land Management Office and presently presiding officer sa Solid Waste Management Board. Uban nako karong hapon na mao si Madam Emma Ascaraga Ramas. Ma'am, say good afternoon sa atong mga ikaminaw.
Maying hapon ninyong tanan diha kanang karon hapon ang atong topic is about solid waste management and there might be uban ninyo diha na interesado aning topika kay it's your everyday nga Ate Manon.
Alright. So anyway, before siguro sa tanan, no, may siguro magkaila kung kinsa man tanduha. So actually, most people, I wouldn't blame most people don't know about something board, Solid Waste Management Board or SWMB. Una sa tanan, no, ang Solid Waste Management Board, from the name itself, this was solid waste. So, kung solid waste, madam, di na pwede septic, no?
Gina-appeal. Wala.
Solid. So,
solid
any waste na solid, dili other than liquid or gas or pollution, mao na siya itong gitawag na solid waste. However, there are exceptions sad kana bang medical waste is not part sa board.
It's a special waste which needs special treatment and different this way of disposal.
Sige. So, ato nang natuki gamay what is solid waste, no? And the third word for our group is management. So, this is about ang ato diri unsaon pagmaniobra, pag-manage na to from the waste generation until its final disposal. All repurposing, recycling, or whatever. So, di alanta, dili ni siya ang gitawag mig management and not elimination. Because, namang butoy, one time I was asked by reporter, Attorney, anong di ba gini makuha ang basura?
Since birth yun, attorney. Since birth yun, nag-generate og basura, tagsa nato.
The way I answered this from that reporter's question was that, Ma'am, for so long as we are alive, we always consume and we have activities, no, that we do. So for as long as we are alive and we consume, there will always be basura na gitay ma-generate dia. So the best that we can do and the current technologies nato and resources that we have is only to manage it sa pagkakaroon.
Yes.
Another, the fourth word sa ato ang ngalan, which is the board, Solid Waste Management Board. A board is to be distinguished as from an office. Ang kanisang board or part of the special bodies, dili ni siya opisina nga naay superior na mga subordinates. So this is a special body, collegial body, no, na adi atong tanang mga experts to. Unya, yours truly is only a presiding officer. So in other words, sa may trabaho sa
chairman, attorney.
Chairman, actually si mayor ang chairman and I represent the mayor. So actually, ang presiding officer, muro na siya sitom. Kana bang, we make sure nga na atong tanang mga eksperto maka-attend sa meeting, ang ato ra yung trabaho nga tanan makadayag sa ilang mga opinions and whatever they have to say regarding sa ilang particular expertise towards managing solid waste and make sure nga di sila magsunod-magay.
Correct. Pero so, attorney,
yes,
kaning atong board appeal yun ni sa balaod.
Correct.
Nagipas sa year 2000 pa.
Okay.
Kanang Republic Act
9003. All right. So, or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. So, this has been like
20 plus years.
23.
No? 23
no? More or less 23. So, being a board, dili ni siya ngayong opisina, no? So, our primary function is actually to recommend policies, unsay mga plano nga gikan sa mga lain-laing mga opisina nga involved sa kaning atong mga environmental concerns. Now the board is divided into three, no? Na atay kanang mga lain-laing opisina sud sa Cebu City government as well as the national government, and the third is the private sector. Mo na itong mga
yes.
NGO, Cebu Chamber of Commerce, etc. etc. Sa Cebu City Government, we have the
Councilors.
the two councilors, sila
Kanang mga chairman of different committees,
Yes,
attorney.
that is correct. Si Councilor Garganera,
For
we have
environment,
Safra, we have
yes, for
si
public
Councilor
services, and
Yes.
then there is also Councilor
Yes.
Franklin Ong sa ABC,
Barangay. Correct.
and then our SK Federation Councilor Resh, and the fifth one, attorney, is Councilor Guardo, who is chairman of the infrastructure.
Yes, that is correct.
So lima na sila ka-councilors involved sa atong board.
Aside from, of course, the DPS, Senro, and we have the city planning and
Department
city
of Health, no?
And then we also have sa national government, ma'am, di ba?
DepEd is with us in the
DepEd.
board, the OST.
We
No,
have the OST, yan. We also have sa religious sector, di ba?
yes, there is one representative from the religious sector.
So imagine the work of the chairman na adrita ng mga mainlaki. So what we do is to merely preside and make sure, as I've said nga, hapsay ang atong mga meeting. Now, having said already about the board, of course dili na to matuki. Most people would think nga kanibang atong basura is just basura, ingana na simple, pero actually it's not. It's more complicated than that. And kung buto na naon ko tukion ginatong kinatibukan gyud nga when it comes to solid waste management board, I'm afraid kuwangan tag usa ka semana. So
yes.
This afternoon, so I'm very happy, no, being the presiding officer nga ang kuyog na koron si Ma'am Emma Ramas. Si Ma'am Emma ba ay morning atong executive director. Mao ni siya gini siyang implementar, no? Implementar sa mo implement sa ato ang unsay mga nakasabutan siya ni mogugod kinsa ba ito kinsa na ba to ni promise ani na complied ba.
Yes.
And one other important thing, kung makita niyo si Ma'am Emma, she brings glamour to the board.
Oh.
All right, so ma'am, unsa na atong kuan ani ron kay we will just have to pick certain topics, no?
Yeah.
Kay di man na lisod ning pag-absorb, even I as a lawyer maglisod tag-absorb tanan, no? So we will just divide
Ang akong gusto ta, attorney, is we try to bring our audience back to unsa man gyud mga problema na atong giatubang karon nga related ang basura, attorney, because there are pressing problems we are experiencing today. Maybe wala kay baw ang atong mga audience na ang pag-manage sa basura dako kay impact.
Yeah.
So I'd like to share with you kaning mga convergence of crisis. I call it crisis, no, kay dili man usa dagan kaayo nig mga problema nga na ang atong country is experiencing, and partly dako kay contribution ang pag-manage sa basura aning convergence of crisis. Number one, attorney, is storm surge.
All right, sige. Aduna tayo ko ano?
Natay slide kaning storm surge, attorney. Numdum ka sa Odette?
Yes.
Grabe ka atong experience sa Odette. Ang akong kuan ani, and before Odette was Yolanda. Ang akong na kulbaan ani kay the prediction is kaning mga storm surge will be stronger and will become kanang more frequent in the coming years, attorney, as climate change intensifies. So another problem that another problem pod na atong gi lista as part of how we manage basura is kaning flooding. Kaning flooding, grabe ang atong experience ani recently. No? Grabe gud atong experience ani recently ang sa flooding. I don't think the solution is just kanang atong padako sa atong drainage, but a big part of the solution is how we dispose our basura. Kung ato na ipanlabay sa atong mga sapa, sa atong mga kanal, ang resulta pod flooding. Another problem that we experience nga related to basura is kaning forest fires and landfill fires, no? Kanino every so often makadungog ta, not just in our city, sa country and the rest of the world, na naay mukalit lang og forest fire and then mga landfill fires. Ang pinaka-recent was Indonesia. And in Indonesia, kita diri sa Dakbayan, naka-experience ta sa haze. And in fact, daghan gyud naka-experience og respiratory nga mga problema because of the haze. Ang hangin gikan sa Indonesia moabot man in town diri nato sa syudad. So this is a problem. Another problem that we listed down here as part of contribution ang basura, no, is kaning depleted soil. Kaning depleted soil kulbaan kay ko ani because unsaon man nato pagpakaon sa atong population kung atong soil wa nay organic matter, wa nay nutrients, wa na tay matanom sa atong soil. So unsa may kanang connection ani sa basura. So kita gud angay manggod unta ta mo return to our soil ang unsay kaning mga malata, ibalik yun na unta sa soil nato para continuously ma-healthy atong soil, ma-alive atong soil. Pero ang atong agricultural practices nga chemicals may atong gipamutang maka-contribute gyud aning depleted soil. Ang labas ani mahimo ta og murag desert. Next problem aning gilista nato is kaning sea level rise. Na ako'y na-research, no, kaning sea level rise mapa.
This is the map of Cebu City and Mactan, no?
Mactan and Mandaue City, Attorney. All these areas in red, in the prediction and in the simulation that the climate scientists did, no, they predict that by 2030, all these areas in red will be underwater.
You mean 7 years from now?
7 years from now. And it will not be underwater just one day, or it will be underwater permanently. So dili ni siya joke nga problema. But we're not saying na wala gyud na mahitabo. Ang ato lang, these are predictions because of the trend sa ilang study nga ang atong temperature rise and kuan unsay contribution ana.
So prediction nila, madam, no?
Prediction ni sa mga climate scientists.
But since these are made by scientists, that we have to take this seriously.
We have to take this really seriously. Yeah, next problem akong gilista diha are pandemics. No? Kaning COVID, for example, no? If you notice, ang pinakauna gyud ang gi-promote when COVID na detected is the hygiene and sanitation of everyone. So this is really related to how we manage our waste and how we maintain cleanliness in our city. Ang next problem is hunger. Kaning hunger, attorney, murag permanente gyud ni sa listahan, no? Kung di good nato i-take care atong soil, for example, ang atong ma-produce dili paigo to feed our population. Kita sa Cebu, we have a particular problem because we import 70% of what we eat. So kaning 70%, attorney, kanang kaya ba ani nato kitay mo grow ani kung kay bawta kung ang atong mga citizens ka-recognize sa problema and are willing to be part of the solution.
Okay.
Ang next problem related to hunger is malnutrition.
The consequence of hunger. Or
also
partly,
because attorney, ang atong mga yuta wa nay nutrients kay wa man nato gibalik ang atong kanang natural fertilizer unta to our soil. So that's another problem in the list. Pero na ako'y video, attorney, nakitaan nga I would like to share with the audience it explains clearly about climate change.
All right.
And then how ang basura comes together. Ang message aning video is, we are the problem, but we can also be the solution.
All right, can we roll it? Para makita.
Ano lang attorney kay
Not on a
this is
good
8
path for
minutes.
continuing to sustain life.
Pwede pa itong si
The Earth is facing the accelerating detrimental effect of climate change, also referred to as global warming. Well, what exactly is climate change? Climate change is defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Climate scientists believe that this isn't caused naturally by the Earth, but by human activity. Earth's atmosphere consists of gases such as oxygen and nitrogen, and other gases known as greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane. Incoming light from the sun hits the Earth's surface. The Earth absorbs some of that energy, heating the surface of the planet. The rest of that energy gets reflected. Some of that energy goes back out into space, but greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide trap the energy and send it right back to the Earth's surface, heating it up even more. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Now, a little greenhouse effect is natural to the Earth and is a good thing to have, but a large greenhouse effect can be catastrophic, causing a lot of that energy to stay in our atmosphere and heat up the Earth at an accelerating rate. Some of the main human activity that emits greenhouse gases are fossil fuel burning, animals, agriculture, and deforestation, and waste and recycle pollution. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, as well as gasoline, are some of the largest pollutants of carbon emissions. Not only that, but when fossil fuels are burnt and their gases mix with heat, they create smog, a thick air pollutant that is highly toxic. For example, Beijing smog is so thick and heavy that you can't go outside without some form of surgical mask or breathing filter. The massive amounts of excrement produced by livestock farms emit toxic gases such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane into the air. Methane is 23 times more effective at trapping heat than CO2, and roughly 80% of these emissions in the US come from animal waste. Over 56 billion animals are globally raised every year for food purposes. That's 8 times more than the human population, and 8 times as much waste adding emissions to our atmosphere. Land used for growing animal feed and raising animals for food used a staggering 30% of the Earth's landmass in 2006, and the food production industry has only increased since. 7 football fields worth of land is bulldozed every minute to create more room for farmed animals and the crops that feed them. Bulldozing land and deforestation not only emits greenhouse gases, but it gets rid of plants, trees, and forests, the things on our planet that actually absorb carbon dioxide. The more we deforest our Earth, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb from our atmosphere. Solid waste landfills are some of the largest pollutants of methane gas in the United States. The average person produces 4.3 pounds of trash per day. That's 1,569 pounds of trash per year for one person. With the 7+ billion people that live on the globe, that's 11.6 trillion pounds of trash dumped into landfills every year. But how do we know that our human activity is the cause of accelerated climate change and not the Earth's natural process? Our civilizations produced a devastating 40 billion tons of carbon dioxide last year, which equals 700 trillion cubic feet of CO2. That's a little more than 100 Mount Everests of CO2. It's enough CO2 to fill the entire Grand Canyon 5 times, or it's the equivalent of 19 million Empire State Buildings. The largest natural pollutant of the Earth are volcanoes. If we take the largest scientific estimate of carbon emissions produced by volcanoes every year, that's 500 million tons of volcanic CO2. But that's not even 2% of the nearly 40 billion tons of CO2 that our civilizations produced. Over the course of thousands of years, our climate goes through a natural climate cycle of carbon dioxide being absorbed and released into the atmosphere. But once the Industrial Revolution kicked in, burning fossil fuels became the necessity of manufacture and production plants, and the CO2 level shot up violently and have not slowed down since. The Earth has not seen this much carbon dioxide in its atmosphere for millions of years. Our planet with the greenhouse effect is like a bathtub being filled with more water than it can drain. Eventually, it will fill up with more than it can handle. But why should we care about global warming and climate increasing? The Earth's temperature has risen 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century and is projected to rise another 0.5 to 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years. Animals and plant life are struggling to adapt to these conditions for survival. If even one species goes extinct, it can create a domino effect with the food chain. No living plants or animals means no living humans. Rising temperatures makes the Earth's oceans become warmer, which causes something known as ocean acidification, which rises the acid levels in the oceans from the carbon dioxide reacting with the salt water. Ocean acidification harms animal life and is what's causing the death of the Great Barrier Reef. This is a problem because about 1 billion people use ocean life as their main source of protein. Since the oceans are becoming warmer, the polar ice caps are melting, which has caused almost 65% of the polar ice caps to melt since 1979. The Earth loses on average 400 billion tons of ice each year. That's like a giant block of ice 4 miles long on each side, 64 cubic miles, that melts and is added to the ocean. The oceans fill with too much water, and the shores, like in Louisiana, can't hold all that water, and coastal regions get flooded and destroyed. Climate change also causes more frequent and intense natural disasters such as hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, heat waves, and droughts. So the question is, how do we stop this? Instead of burning fossil fuels, we need to convert to renewable energy such as solar and wind power, which emit zero carbon emissions when operating. Energy from the sun and the wind are infinite. Unlike fossil fuels, we will never run out of them. More solar energy falls on the Earth in 1 hour than all the energy that our civilizations consume in 1 year. Civil engineers from the Solutions Project calculated that we could power most of the world with only renewable energy if we just actually decided to do it. If we cut back on deforestation, not only does that reduce the amount of fossil fuels burned, but there will be more plants and forests actively absorbing carbon dioxide. If we use more reusable and renewable resources, this will reduce the amount of energy needed to create new products. This will also reduce the massive amount of landfill dumping that we do. That all sounds like great, efficient, and healthy ideas, but how can I help personally right now? You can drive an electric or fuel-efficient car. Replacing your regular car with a Toyota Prius, the average person can prevent the emission of about 1 ton of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, we all can't afford to just buy new and different cars. So to help, you can walk or bike places, take public transportation, or if anything, ease off the accelerator and make your car as efficient as possible. Use energy-efficient light bulbs. LED light bulbs use only a fraction of the power of incandescent light bulbs. Air dry your clothes instead of using power-guzzling machines like dryers. Turn off electronics or lights when you're not using them. Eat less meat or no meat at all. By replacing an omnivorous diet with a vegan diet, the average person can prevent the emission of about 1.5 tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And of course, spread your knowledge and concerns of climate change. Remember, climate change is very real and is drastically affecting planet Earth, our home. And although we are the problem, we can also be the solution.
Wow. So
Attorney, that explain the explain ngano no ang atong kanang climate change is serious and it's a reality.
Yeah, pero kasagaran murag giigo, murag it's humans who are the primary cause of climate change, no? So if you are ang message is that if we are the problem, so we could also be the solution.
Correct.
That's correct.
Correct.
But if you don't mind, mo comment lang ko kaya I'm sure that was made by
US
made man na.
US ang
But
setting.
somehow there was one interesting piece ako nakita adto about sa beef production daghang nga cows.
Oh.
But if you think about it, ang kasagaran ng konsumidora na are coming from the western countries. In fact, the second highest population country which is now number 1, no? India, they don't eat beef.
Yes.
So sometimes, while it is true, but what I'm trying to say is, I think the bigger burden of responsibility among us humans are people from the Western countries where they have the most consumption, no? Kung abutan na to mga tao sa Africa, I'm not saying di na lang sad ta makuan, no? But for somehow kani atong mga Americans, the Brits, people from Europe, they should exert more effort. Well, all of us, this is our common responsibility, but the biggest burden of responsibility must be shouldered by them. Kasi lagi una naka-industrialize and all that. But anyway,
yes, that's true.
Other than
that's
that,
true.
now, there are also some people said, ma'am, would you agree with me nga, nasa uban nga mo, ingon sila, ang climate change is not caused by humans, dili photogenic, but rather natural. But ang ako lang sang comment, whether you believe that climate change is caused by man or it's natural, there is climate change.
There is climate
and we
change.
should actually prepare for
Do
that.
something
That's the basic idea there, no?
Correct.
So okay. Napaman siguro to sumpay.
Video na ko slide the attorney about the paradigm shift that we want to do in the city.
Kaya excuse me, the slides.
Paradigm shift na.
So this is we're now talking about sa mga solutions na siya, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right, sige.
Kani attorney, we would like to show lang yun to our audience that there are different ways of managing our waste,
Sige, ma'am.
attorney.
Pero
So,
before ta mo padayon, ma'am, kinsa man si Lansing?
Lansing is a European
Umura man nga amo
expert.
silingang insects.
Expert na this is world standard ni siya nga way of doing solid waste management that lists the different methods, and the greenest portion is when we reduce our waste.
So mo ni siya order of priority.
Order of priorities
Alright,
of
sige.
waste management. And the worst thing to do is to send all our waste into the landfill. I would like to bring attention lang na sa karon kanang naapataaning dapita na landfill pata ang atong pag-manage sa atong waste. Pero we would like to get out of this and move up to the greener parts of the ladder, which is reuse, recycle, and finally reduce the waste that we generate.
Maura man ni common nga misunderstanding sa mga tao, ma'am, no? When we talk about sa una, ani man ni siya 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. People would tend to think nga it can be interchanged. When that is wrong. Actually, as much possible, try to reduce your consumption. Now, if you cannot reduce, then reuse. Try to reuse. No? And then, buta ta sa recycling. Kaya mo bang mingon, di mo ko reduce, ako rin recycle nga na, bitaw, no? So
our next slide, unsa ganis next slide na to is ang kaning Cebu City Solid Waste Management Plan attorney mo ni atong hisgutan.
Sige.
Unsa man gyud ni? Unsa yung next slide? Kani
paradigm shift
na
okay.
Ang atong present system attorney is we collect mixed waste and then labay sa landfill.
By the way, ma'am, basig mangutanan sila unsa man ning paradigm shift?
Mo shift attorney
sa
from this present system.
Ang atong kanang kinaiyahan
Yes.
na andan nga pamaagi.
Yes, sa
Usbo na to.
Usbo na to ning to a system wherein we start to recover what is valuable pa na adya sa atong waste, and then we only throw into the landfill ang kato na gyud wa na.
Kaya siya pagagaron nanuna tay basura ang atong mo na labay na nasa na to basura, di ba?
Na ato mo na atong mentality sa karon.
Basta makita tay basura,
labay ra gyud. Labay.
So what you are suggesting kaning gitawag na tong paradigm shift, usbo na ta atong mga kaning atong what is familiar, naandan ba?
Yes.
Usbo na to. So but ang imo pasabot, ma'am, kana bang instead nga una na to nanawon nga ilabay, nanawon sa to basig magamit ni siya.
Yeah. So kaning next slide attorney.
Okay.
we produce lain-lain klase nga waste, di ba? So,
Ato na
napod
usaman,
na-
madam. Unsa man ni?
napod na lain-lain klase of disposal and treatment.
Okay.
So, kaning biggest good volume atong gi-generate, attorney, is kaning organic waste, kaning mga malata.
Malata.
No? So, kani siya, ang best thing to do for our malata waste is to compost and then grow our food
Aha.
in our own homes to contribute to our food security.
Okay. If we have to, kung natin obserbahan, with organic waste, no, comes from mostly food stuff na to
Yes.
konsumo.
Kitchen and yard
it
waste.
comes from either meat kanang mga mananap or tanom.
Or plants, yes.
Plants, right.
Correct.
Sige.
So, we also have recyclables. Nga doon na pag yun, presyo if atong i-recover. So, just to give you an idea, kaning Nature Spring botelya, attorney, if we sell it to a recycler nga limpyo, dry, and then wa nay takop, wa nay label, it's 18 pesos per kilo.
Really?
Kaning different metal scraps, lain-lain na yang presyo. Kanang lata sa sardinas, you sell it clean nga dry, that's 5 pesos per kilo. Pero kanang uban metals, mas mahal. Na kanang corrugated sheets, that's I think 10 to 15 pesos per kilo. No? Kaning carton, naapod na siya presyo. So, in the secondary market, dawato ng mga 4 pesos. Pero kanang mo export na gyud, dawato ng mga 750, 8
So in other
pesos.
words, na pera sa basura.
Naagyud pera sa
okay.
basura. Kaning hazardous and special waste, kani angay gud ni siya ipadala sa kanang special facilities po nga kamao mo process ani niya. And finally, kaning residual na gyud, pa-landfill na gyud ni.
Okay, wa na lay mahimo.
Wa
Unsa
na
man
gyud tay
usab na
mahimo.
Upo sa sigarilyo.
Upos, kanang diapers, di ta kay bawon saon pag-process as of now, no?
Mao sa ni mga di nato kalikayan ba as kana bitang with modernity with modernity usahay ang atong basura nagkagrabe.
Yeah. So, ay special treatment.
Na kanang mao na siya kanang I hate to admit this but I'm old enough to remember a time, ma'am, nga kaning lang for example kanibang tubig gani wa mo mineral water sa una kana isuod og botelya, di ba? Hinumdum ko kung kahinumdum
Ako, I remember
kaya nga manginom
growing
sa
up.
gripo.
Yes, diretso man sa gripo. May problema sa una, no?
And then if I remember also mga katong manghod na mo sa una akong kamanghuran diaper panapton, no?
Panapton, bird's eye, attorney. Bird's eye.
Mo na siya, no, sa usahay we have reached that point kana bang the kanang disposable convenience.
Yes,
no,
yes,
always people will always find a way nga unsay pinakonbenyente nga mahimo, no, without knowing nga naay mga consequences. So we are now facing the consequences of the past 40 50 years ago nga na bitaw. Now ganahan tag unsay paspas we kanang almost everything is disposable.
Yeah, true.
So, mo na siya.
Naay usa ka slide diha, attorney, that we prepared.
Yeah, next
Kani,
slide.
attorney,
Okay, what is that?
kanang daghan man kaayo tag mga ordinances ug balaod na gipas na gyud. Kanang ang atong strategy sa Cebu City karon na atong giisgutan sa atong board is that magsugod na ta og push, pull, empower to kanang
Bira tulod.
yes,
tulod,
push,
bira.
pull, empower.
Okay.
Nanum unsa maning push, pull, empower.
Okay.
Ang atong mga ordinance, attorney, for example, the ordinance on no segregation, no collection, ato na siyang i-implement. Dagan kay ordinansa natay ordinansa, attorney, that requires us to take care of the cleanliness of our tugaran.
Tugaran, no?
Ato nang i-implement.
So,
These are old
in other words,
ordinances.
kanang we don't dapat kadausan nato dili lang magsalig lang sa gobyerno, no?
Yes, to
because
solve
you're,
the problem, to manage
you have to
basura.
understand kanang individual responsibility.
Participatory gyud ning atong buhaton. So kaning push, so implementa, so naaman tay mga seset attorney, mga enforcers, they will do a massive enforcement campaign sa next few months na para kaning atong mga existing mga balaod na maayo man kaining mga balaod, we start implementing them na.
Okay.
Kaning pool attorney is we will set up mga systems to incentivize the best efforts.
Okay.
Mo reward ta, mo recognize ta who are doing best or well in the management of solid waste. And we will also embark in massive trainings to empower the
makasuot sa
people.
to diri no ma'am ang katong extended producer's responsibility, but although that's quite a complicated topic to talk about, but daghan sa na siya mga incentives so ari sa na siya
masud diha
pool.
sa push. Oo.
Anyway.
So mo ni atong strategy.
Sige.
Anya, ang next slide please. Kani siya attorney, our approach is participatory. Unsa may meaning aning participatory? Meaning
Apil-apilon.
kaning atong barangays.
Apil good, no?
Barangays attorney sa balaod, sila mangyud ang naay responsibilidad sa pag-manage sa duha ka waste.
They're the nasad na siya term, they're the most the basic no, the basic
Yes.
unit of government.
Yes.
Oo.
Sila gyud in the law, sila angay mo manage sa malata waste
Because
and
they are the ones in
recyclables.
direct contact
Yes,
with
with the constituents. Oo.
Sila.
So we're saying participatory attorney because all the sectors of society mo appeal gyud sa atong pag-manage sa basura. So kinsa maning mga sectors,
Sige.
schools, churches, kaning mga subdivisions and mga purok, mga sityos sa dakbayan, no? Business establishments. There are 38,000 business establishments na secure og license every year.
That is just those nga naka-secure og license.
Yes, why ang underground. Why
Okay,
labot. So,
alright.
kani silang business establishments, when they renew their license, they kanang fill up that
ISAP.
ESAP.
Yeah.
Sa ganyan ang ESAP attorney?
Northern Environmental
Sustainability Action Plan.
Yes, that is correct.
In that ESAP attorney, they promise that they will manage their basura properly.
Kung buta na naon na to, madam, kana ba ang ISAP? Dili ba naingon nga sila men mismo ang nagplano na, di ba?
Yes.
And
Notarized
na.
Notarized nga document.
And there's no reason that establishments cannot comply since they're the ones who made the plan.
Yes.
so
So,
mao na siya.
baka kay ba ang mga tag-iya sa mga establishments, there is that plan.
Okay.
So, kanang next slide please. Pero ang pinaka-basic sa tanan attorney is
Segregation.
segregate.
Okay.
Kay para malain na to ang unsay makinabang pa na apay value o unsa may angay ilabay na gyud.
Sige. Kanong kinanglan man ta mag-segregate is actually a function of management, no? Because kung gibahig na nimo ang lain-laing klaseng basura, mas dali siyang makolekta.
Yes.
Like kumura na siya ganabang gibahig na nimo lain-lain siyang destinasyon,
Yes.
lain-lain siyang proseso,
Lain man siyang
Pero kung magsagol pa,
Problema
it's
yun
going to
na.
be a problem. It's going to cost a lot of money if you're depending kung gobyerno pa sa imong
Yes.
ang imong saligan.
To-
Pwede ra sa gihapon if you are willing to pay taxes.
higher taxes mo charge ta sa
Pero sa mga tao na. So
higher taxes.
if you don't want, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want the government nga mga inyo og dako-dako nga buwis, so let's try to do some tabang ta to reduce na our footprint. So what's next with us?
Yeah, next
No more. We have the
next
video.
slide.
Oh, alright.
Oh.
So this is more your department.
So kani attorney, what we're trying to tell the people is kaning malata waste mamang gyud ni siya big part of our waste stream, no. Kani man pinaka biggest volume
60%.
60%. Ang best yun aning malata waste is to compost because kaning compost is really needed sa atong yuta to make the soil alive.
Yes, imo nang na-explain ganina nga usa sa mga convergence of crisis is the soil depletion, no?
Yes.
So there is a way nga ma-reverse na nato, and it will also
by putting back this
organics,
malata waste into our soil. And when we do that, we connect it with food gardens, because as I said earlier, we import 70% of what we eat here in Cebu. So unsay mahitabo sa dakbayan kung kaning 70% dili mo abot diri nato for some reasons. Ang bukid nun di makapadala og utanon, ang Cagayan or ang Iloilo di magpadala og rice. Unsay mahitabo nato, what tay self-sufficiency. So we would like to address that. Yes, we would like to address that as early as now with the use of our malata basura, which if we send to the landfill, it will cause so many problems in the landfill area. Plus, mahal pag yun.
Nya dali sa mapuno, no?
Dali mapuno atong landfills. Magsige tag pangitag area for landfills.
Mahal na ra ba itong mga kayutaan, ma'am?
In Cebu, correct.
So, we have another slide.
Yes.
Oh, what's this?
So, maora gyud ning angay maabot sa landfill.
Landfill or some
padako
other.
lang nato ang picture.
Okay.
Kaning wa na gyud tay makinabang nga.
Sige. Alright.
So, sa atong paghimo sa atong programa sa board, attorney, mo gyud ni ang 5 ka goals nato. Problems that we will try to solve with our solid waste management plan, which is to reduce the cost. Sa karon mga 500 million pesos na a year to collect mixed waste and dispose into the landfill. We would like to bring that down. And then another problem that we want to solve is the depleted soil, no? So return the organic matter and the nutrients back to our soil to make our soil alive. And then prevent foul smell, flies, and greenhouse gases emission in the landfill area. Kay di ra bata kaingon na ang hangin dito ra kutob sa Binalyo.
No.
Maapil ra bagyud ta diri og kanang breathe anang air what is there in Binalyo, apil ta diri sa syudad. So we will help, no, kay maluoy ta anang mga taga Binalyo nga sila in town mo suffer gyud sa what we do wrong here in the city. Nya promote the transition sa atong farmers because we will be able to make available mga compost and organic fertilizer. Our farmers can now transition to natural ways of growing food. Dili na chemicals ang ilang saligan. And finally, prevent surface water and groundwater pollution para with the leachate. So mo nang atong nga gusto i-address with our plan, with our program.
I think we have one last video, no? Mastoryahan mi nimo daan, ma'am, unsa ni atong tanawon?
Kaning video atong i-show, i-share to the public is a video on growing ampalaya. No? Growing ampalaya using our waste to fertilize and then in a container so that even when we have very limited space in our homes, we can still grow our own food.
Pero dili ra gyud ni siya sa ampalaya ra.
Pwede ra gyud ni sa pipino, pwede ra gyud ni all the foods, all the vegetables that we can grow, pwede ra gyud gamiton same system.
Ug kanong naay mga interesado natong nagpaminaw og mga viewers nato, ma'am, nya gustong mangita aning mga video or natay kanang unsay tanong nag-guide nato.
Library of
asa man basig gunahan sila mangutana asa ta
attorney daghan kay materials in the internet.
Can we sa imong office siguro, ma'am, no, makakuanta,
maka-share me og materials.
Follow Miss Emma Ramas.
And also if you know kanang atong mga gipang train na nga City Hall employees, we've run 54 ka trainings. And then we also started training of our city scholars. na 14,000 na sila, attorney, but I think we've done half na.
Sige.
They can also approach them para share sila sa ilang nakatuon sa
So
atong
anyway,
mga trainings.
ang kaning video na tong sumusunod, this is just one of many
No.
videos na to nga videos and educational sige na ni mga instruments na to, materials, no,
Available sa
na-compose
internet.
atong IEC na to.
And kani not really our IEC, they're in the internet lang, attorney. If you search, dagan gyud kaayo.
Sige. So sige, let's play. Roll the video.
You can start with just 3 seeds. So for 6 hours, ampalaya seeds.
Okay.
Kanang old na bitaw. Then you can use kaning disposable cups. Ang potting mix ani is just garden soil with a little bit of rice hull. Then you make 1-inch deep holes.
Usa na kaliso, ha?
1 per cup, and then 6 hours ang pag-soak.
Ikaw ning naa sa kuan, ma'am? Imo nang
No, attorney, no.
Abi na ko ikaw.
No. So, naana siya yung mga dahon na germinate na after a week. Mao ni akong ingon nga bisag discarded nga mga containers pwede magamit to plant our food at home. Kani siya kinahanglan buslutan ang ilawom so that ma-drain ang excess water. And then make 3 holes, bigger holes on the side na equally spaced ang distance from hole to hole, no? And then garden soil with tipaka, you add your compost. Mo'y pating medium.
So kanang itom ron nga soil
That's the compost.
That's the compost.
That's the compost. Yeah.
Okay.
So you fill up your container up to where the 3 holes. Okay, so imagine na.
Na siya gamot, no?
Oh.
Ay,
So,
tabas.
kay mo climb man ang ampalaya. It's a creeping plant.
So tulo lang siya per pail. Inala ka
Yeah. Kana 20-liter pail, tulo ka seedlings.
Di pwede himog upat.
Mas murag
Mas
congested
maayo siya.
na siya kung upat. So, you find plastic, may buslutan ang ilawom para diha i-feed ang mga
Tubig.
basura. Ang basura to
Okay.
fertilize your ampalaya seedlings. So kani mga melon na humanag after getting the meat.
Example lang na siyang melon, ma'am. No?
Example rani. Any
Pwede lain.
kitchen, any yard waste that you have, pwede ra gyud mo i-feed. So best to soak it, and then ang soaked water mo ay i-bis-bis.
Okay.
Kaya ang nutrients mabalhin na sa water. So sugod na gyud siya og
Katay.
katay. because it's a creeping plant, you have to build a structure over it niya. Bamboo ra good.
You know what? Maski pag wala kay intention nga magtanom kay para imong kanon, pero as a decorative item, it's very
Pwede
nice.
ra.
No?
It can green your backyard or your front yard. Moni atong gusto mahitabo, attorney. Naatay 197 ka basura hotspots in Cebu City. Ang atong gusto is i-convert ni nato into landscape green spots. Nya pasigao nato para nindo tan-aw.
Kanang mga edible plants,
landscape.
No?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we'll plant kalamansi. Pero mingon sila unya kawaton.
Ang magbantay siguro mo ay maka-harvest.
Sa ako hunahuna po attorney basta gamiton lang nila ila ra pud kanon og ila pud imnon aw. Kani attorney mga utanon nga mga kitchen scraps pwede ra gyud mo i-fertilize.
Ikadugay, no?
After every week i-fertilize ingon ana. Masoil ra na siya balik.
That's good.
Saka na siya. So,
sustain na ni siya.
Yes.
So,
weekly.
Dili lang kanang kasalag siya mamunga niya. Mao na usab sa uno.
Kanang kuan siya.
na.
And then continuous feeding also.
Okay.
Continuous feeding of your seedlings. Hangtod mo produce siya fruits. Then you prune off the tips para mo branch out siya. Ang usa kanang kuan mo branch into 2 or 3. Kaning ampalaya and some other plants, you have to be able to distinguish the male flowers from the female flowers.
Ano din na siya gapoy, male and female, ma'am, no?
Yes, naana siya male and female flowers. So, you will know it's a female flower kay na ay fruit gasunod sa likod.
Okay, male and female.
Oo.
Why
Ang male walay fruit gasunod. So, mura ba kung babae attorney buntis anang female flower. So, when it starts to flower, ang best to fertilize are mga kitchen scraps that are potassium rich, like banana or papaya or kaning mga sweet fruits.
Basta magsugod nagpamunga.
Oo, and then you prune off the side growth sa ubos para concentrated ang growth going up.
Nindot na siya. Even
Nagbuwak
as just
na.
decoration?
Yes, pwede ra gyud, no?
Sa imong bungbong.
Yes, pwede ra gyud. And then you don't need a huge space to do this. So kani mga female flowers. Kani female, klaro kay ni female flower.
Ano siya ihanan sa male flower, ma'am?
You will know, wala gyud siya gasunod sa likod. Ang kani, for example, is a male flower. You pluck off the petals and then hand pollinate with the female flowers. Ipakis ang male o female flowers. Para maligon ang imong fruit, and then you will also experience more flowers.
Okay. So mura sab murag nakat-on sa tagamay agriculture ani, no?
Pero nindot kanang amazing how nature, no? How nature operates.